What's up YouTube? First of all, hope everything is well. Today I have an amazing topic, at least in my perspective. I want to talk about condition rarity in pre-modern and how can this be so difficult to navigate since our market is still in a discovery phase. But before we go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much for that. Is the best way to show support. I have to share also a couple of details. This was part of a Q&A I did on my Patreon community. I have more than 100 videos there, exclusive video, so link below the video if you want to join. And now let's go into the video and I hope you have fun. That said guys, no financial advice, always do your own research and English is not my main language. Let's start with the question number one, and I think this is a very interesting one. What do you think about the recent strong green Megastrelas PSA 10 sales and what floor do you think these cards will eventually settle at? So if you guys are not aware, and thank you so much for the question, but let's go into this. Recently the 2004 Panini Mega Cracks cards, in this case this is the insert inside of the Mega Cracks set that is so famous because of the Messi 7 on Bs. A PSA 10 sold on eBay for almost $900. A PSA 9 sells around $200. This is a big gap as you can see, and looking at this you may believe that the gem rate is completely obnoxious. In reality, yes and no. What I mean, if you look at the Ronaldo card, the gem rate is actually 12%. If you look at other cards, one that comes to mind is Ronaldinho, I believe the gem rate is 0. So, very difficult market to navigate. I will start with the obvious thing. Amazing cards, I'm just not a fan of the 10 premium. I actually believe these cards have been underrated for a long time. I'm not sure right now, since this huge sale and a couple of 9s that also sold very strong on PWCC may put more of them into the market, may create FOMO around them, but my perspective was in the past, and I talked about these cards a couple of times on the Patreon community. I thought they have been underrated. If you have those cards in and they almost have, I hate to say this, but is what I feel, they almost have a PMG type of vibe type of look. Of course, they lack rarity compared with PMGs, but the design is actually quite amazing, and if you look at the scans, they don't look anything special, but in end they are actually beautiful cards. The green really pops. And now I have to be honest, I still feel they are in a discovery phase. These strong sales will push more of them into the market. Like I was saying, they are fairly easy to find raw in good condition. Good condition does not mean a 9 or a 10. A card that is PSA 7, PSA 8 is still a card in good condition, so have that in mind. With that sale, let's say $900, you can buy easily 10 copies, probably between 10 to 30 copies. It will depend a lot. Raw in nice condition and grade them seems a easy choice for me. Why? First of all, if you are a collector, for me having a 9 or a 10 is almost irrelevant. I understand this is a take, some people disagree, but even if you are an investor, I mean, you put $900, you buy a bunch of them. If you are really good at pre-grading, let's say, asking photos, asking scans, and if you hit 4 or 5 9s, maybe even 110, you actually can make a lot of money with $900, assuming that the market will still play that, and that's a big if. But for me, this will be quite easy. I would buy a couple of them raw, let's say 10, 20 copies with that money, if that's your idea to invest on the 10s, and basically try my luck. I understand 12% is not the best gem rate in the world, but is also not the worst, and there is still a couple of copies going around raw that I believe are in great condition. Trying to predict price is difficult since we don't know for sure the gem rate of those. Ronaldinho, for example, I believe is pop 0. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's quite important to notice that. But other players have a decent gem rate. I believe David Beckham, for example, also on this set, have a very good gem rate. And you have other players in this set set that are legends. That's why I believe this is actually an amazing set. You have in the Mega Estrelas, you have Ronaldo, you have Zidane, Ronaldinho, Raul, Figo, I mean, Casillas. At the time, this was quite the La Liga was an amazing league. Actually, imagine if Messi had one of those, because this will also be a rookie card, but basically Mega Estrelas mean the superstars on the league, and Messi was just a new kid starting. Still very early to say. I don't think this should be a 1k card by any means. Probably between 200, 500 would make more sense. I know it's a big gap, but we shall see. That's why, look, going back to your question, I can share with you my perspective like I did about the Mega Estrelas cards, and I think they are amazing. For a long time, like I said, I even thought they end up being a bit underrated, but I also cannot tell you for sure that I believe 1k is too much. I know this was not 1k, let's say $900 was too much. I would feel much more comfortable if I see those cards going between 200, 500, but even that I'm not totally sure. This is a wait and see game. And this goes into condition rarity in pre-modern can be really dangerous. And another thing that I talk a lot on the Patreon side, most of you guys are 100% aware of this, but to take a look at this Panini sticker for Lionel Messi, a very important Panini sticker, the first World Cup one, quite iconic to be honest, but the PSA 10 sold in January, I believe January 2020, but at least in 2020 for 7.8k, and this card was Pop 5. Yeah, this card was Pop 5. Imagine you buying this card and you see, oh, you know what, the gem rate is actually really low. There is only 5 in the world right now. Maybe there will be 10, maybe there will be 20. Well, guess what, right now in 2023 the Pop is 91, and sooner or later this will be 100, maybe 200. Why I'm so pessimistic about this card? Well, because I know how popular the Panini World Cup sets are in Europe. If I go to a friend's house, even if he does not collect cards or stickers, I may find this sticker there, because the production was insane. These type of sets are super mainstream, and if you see prices like this one, 7k, 8k, eating the market, everyone will try to grade the best copies they have, and the Pop will completely skyrocket. Hey guys, quick pause on this one. First of all, hope you are enjoying the video. If that's the case, do not forget to leave a like, but let me share with you two things. The first is I have a Patreon community that is growing super fast. I put a lot of content there. If you joined right now, you pay around $10, but you have access to more than 100 exclusive videos. It's an amazing place to learn about the soccer card market, and you also support the channel. Link below the video and also in the comments. The second thing is my Discord server. We are more than 1,000 members. I'm gonna say it again, 1,000 members, and it's an amazing community, an amazing place to interact with me, to interact with other collectors, to learn and share about the soccer card market. Similar to Patreon, link will also be below the video. If $10 is a lot of money to you, don't feel pressure to join the Patreon. For me, it's not super relevant. Of course, I would love to see you there, but at least join the Discord. That's totally free and is an amazing place to learn about the soccer card market, like I said a couple of seconds ago. Now let's continue with this one, and I hope you have fun. Right now it's around 600. I also saw a couple of sales around 1k, but I guess you guys get the point. It's a big difference. And I would say one thing, if this card sells, let's say around 1k right now, I still think is quite a lot. There is multiple examples like this one. One that I talked a couple of times on my YouTube channel was the 2005 Mundi Chrome Messi, second year Messi, sold in Goldin. Again, don't quote me on this, but I believe over 10k, and I thought that was quite bananas, to be honest with you guys. I mean, never made sense. I understand at the time maybe it was Pop 1, Pop 2, Pop 3, maybe Pop 5, I'm not sure. But the reality is the reason those cards are so low in the 10 is people are not grading them. Sure, they may have some condition rarity associated, but not to a point that you should trust blind, basically the Pop report in the moment you are seeing. In certain cases, it's quite obvious that you should not buy, what you should not buy, better saying, but in other cases, it is not. Solution: put time in the market and try to find what is actually really rare versus condition rarity. So let's bring this back to something that I talk so much on YouTube: timing the market versus timing the market. Don't you guys think that the person, and of course we don't know the person, but let's assume the person that bought this Messi PSA 10 for 8K, probably there was some timing the market there. You may thought, you know what, cards are exploding. This is an iconic card for Messi. This is that. This is, you know, you guys get the point, right? But if that person ended up putting time in the market, you'll realize, okay, this is not as rare. Makes almost zero sense to pay 7K or 8K for a sticker that was mass produced. And even if the gem rate is fairly lower, the amount of cards still out there makes these purchases really difficult. So this goes back into what I tend to talk so many times. I know I get quite repetitive on this point, but is time in the market versus time in the market. You need to put time in the market. Timing the market never works, or when it works, you probably have to be aware that you got quite likely most of the time. So my advice, and no financial advice, as you guys know, in doubt, just buy raw. It's much better to be the guy that sold the 10 than the guy that bought the 10. That's the reality. You guys already know, but I'm not a big fan of the PSA 10 Premium or the BGS 10, or even sometimes even the BGS 9.5s, even though those don't have a premium comparable with PSA 10s. But basically the top grades, I think they could be a bit tricky to navigate, especially knowing that our market is in a discovery phase. Certain cards are much more discovered than others. I think Messi 7 base could be a very good example of that. The PSA 10 is not moving. Actually, one in the last 2 years, one dropped out of the pop, was pop 20. Right now is pop 19, but that's a very particular example. Alifa Bologet could also be another good example. Basically, the cards that really had super strong attention at one point in time, they feel a bit more close to reality than cards like this that we are still trying to figure out what's going on. So let's refocus. You guys already know I'm not a big fan of the 10 premiums. I always felt those cards are I always felt that cards are not in a bubble, but graded cards face the bubble for sure. Be a bit different, this idea. People may say, oh, cards are in the bubble. I'm not sure about that. I think graded cards at one point end up being in a bubble. The raw market, even if down right now, is not comparable in terms of price correction with graded cards. Look, if you buy raw from Europe, from Brazil, from Argentina, whatever it is, you know that maybe modern is different, to be honest, but let's say pre-modern and vintage. The raw market is quite similar to what it was in 2020. You know, maybe you can even make an argument that the market still needs to correct, and that would be fine. But if you just collect raw, I can guarantee you that your collection probably is down. Because makes sense. I mean, even the macroeconomics of the world are so different, but it's not the same thing. You know, if you bought PSA slabs, BGS slabs at the peak of the market, you are down bad. If you bought raw, you are probably down, but I think you are in a much better position. You also can make an argument when the market shifts, when there is another money, when there is another bull run in the collectible space, especially in the soccer card market, you also cannot benefit of that easy, you know, because if you have a graded cards, you can send to multiple places and they sell that for you. If you have a raw card, is much more difficult to sell. You may think your card is in top condition, the person is buying may disagree with you. So there is also that problem, but as a collector is a much safer place. That's why I was saying for this one, if you really like those cards, my friend, there is still a lot of them raw going around. Look, maybe if you go to eBay, maybe if you go to eBay Spain, maybe if you go to Todo Collection right now, you don't find a copy that you like. That's okay, you know, just wait. Eventually will appear. Those cards are not crazy rare to a point that you really need to FOMO right now. And if everyone is buying those cards at the moment, which I don't even think is the case, wait 1 month, wait maybe 1 year, they will appear. Trust me, this is something that I I see so many times in my collecting journey that there is always this type of cycle. FOMO, then there is a dump, then there is a correction, and the cycle continues. Let's move on to the question number 2.